So here's another video of one model ship. This one is what I'm working on in the shed. This is the cover of the box, and I used to refer this to this photograph quite a bit because the directions are so vague and what I'm supposed to do. So this gives you a good idea of what it's going to look like when it's done. In the meantime, this is the progress so far. You've seen on my previous videos some of the work I'm doing. So I'm going to clamp the phone down here in my tripod. And try to get this to focus on that spot there. We're going to be working in this area with the Deadeye here, and it's struggling to stay focused. Hopefully gonna move a little closer maybe. So as you can see there, I've got the Deadeye tied to the line coming up from the top crow's nest. So now we'll secure that tail out of the way. I'm gonna pull up my little chair and sit down here. That tail out of the way, is I'll tie it off like these later on and get ready for our lines that are going to thread in the Deadeye. So because those holes in that Deadeye are so little, take a little CA glue, put on the end of that thread, and then if I remember correctly, thread that through. So this one goes from the front to the back. So now we got a thread from the back to the front. We'll say that the front of this Deadeye will be with that tape facing the right. So we'll get that baby through there. Now it's starting to look like something. Get this out of the way here. see. I'm struggling. So the end of that thread is spread out a little bit. So I'm going to try to cut it at a little bit of an angle. There should still be some CA glue in that area where the cut took place. When we get that poked through, yes, I'm going to grab it. Now we got to go into the back on the right side there. Oh, I'm shaking like a leaf. It's a little chilly out today here in the Sunshine State. Yep, that thing's all boogered up on the end. So I'm going to have to put some glue on there again. I don't know if any came out or not. Well, looks like it might work, so we'll give it another shot. Cover back on this glue here. So looking at this Deadeye, I can see there's a little burr of wood in that opening of the hole, and my thread is still a little fuzzy on the end. Another trick is to use beeswax. I got some beeswax here. I put on the threads, but this little Deadeye, even with beeswax, may be a problem. So I'm going to bore that out a little, see if I can knock some of them burrs off of there. My focus is terrible on this thing. That's a little better. So if it'll stay that way. So that looks a little better. So believe it zoomed out just because I'm thinking that focus is not staying. I got an IP app that lets me watch the video the same time I'm filming it on the laptop computer from the camera on the phone. But being an IP video, it is really low resolution and there's a lot of latency. And that can be just as bad. I thought that was going to go through there. Good grief. That's weird. So, this is really being a pain in the butt. Not to mention I can't see. That bit even doesn't want to go through. Okay. Let's try that again now. Oh, would you look at that? Okay. One more hole. Yeah, it's my dog walking around in here making noises. He will not leave me alone 24/7. I guess he was disgusted with what I just told him. So, we're almost to the point we can cinch this up now. So what I'm going to do is, before I tie this bottom part, I'm going to go ahead and lock this top one in around the neck of that big rope holding the Deadeye. Just pacing back and forth, back and forth. And then he finally laid down. His name is Mufasa, named after the Lion King. Fail. Get that knot pulled tight there. And it looks okay like that. I'm going to have more knots on there. So to lock that in, a little dab of CA glue on there. And now we got regular pulley here. I'm blocking tackle, so I'm going to tug on ropes until I can find the one take that slack up. Some you go up, some you go down. It's hard to tell which one. That looks pretty good. Okay. So this here, I'm cutting from my long piece coming off the reel. And it's a little awkward working this thing with the camera right up in front of me. But we'll deal with it. Other than them two in the front are crisscrossing. I don't like that. Sometimes you gotta use 2 pairs of tweezers. So, we got that cinched up pretty good. Now we're gonna another little dab of CA glue on the knot in the bottom. Now we cut these tails off here. And we use a short piece of this thread. We want to get a couple knots around that rope there. Pull that together. That's good. Little dab will do ya. And see that? Ooh boy, I just blew that whole knot, didn't I? Sure looks like it. Yeah, when I cut that off, it blew it up. Like dynamite. So we'll tie another one. And before I put the glue on there, I'm usually cutting the strings after I put the glue on, but it does blow up quite often. I probably have 3 out of 10 knots that blow up. And that's probably because I'm not tying the right knot. So if there's any viewers out there that got suggestions, don't hesitate to give me some input. I need to have one of them little charts on the wall back there. If you pull on that thread while you're cutting it, you're taking a good chance of blowing that knot up. If you don't pull on it, you got a pretty good tail hanging out. These scissors are really precise in nipping that knot off. Just perfect for this application, but yes, seemingly fail pretty often. So you just keep trying. Try to make this last one line up with them other ones. It doesn't help that it's a little chilly out. And I probably had too much coffee. That don't help either, so. Okay, we'll nip off this very carefully. Without blowing that knot. This one here is a little low, but we got one more to go. This side and the other side. And then we got all the rat lines to tie in there. And then I was looking at the plans the other day and I noticed that there's a whole group of ladder ropes that they climb on that go from about here up to the bottom of here with rat lines in them, like a little spider web. So as they climb from the bottom up, they can get on this other ladder and come out to the front here and get into this crow's nest. So I've yet to do that. I just noticed that the other day that I probably got at least 6 more on each side to come up, and then some rat lines. That'll make this complete. And then let me back off here with the camera. Down where the lines originate at, you can see there's an eye bolt there, and then an eye bolt here, and an eye bolt in the middle. Those get a big rope tied to them, and they'll go all the way up near the top, way up here to this top crow's nest. And that'll help support the whole mast as an assembly from the side of the ship where all that stuff is anchored at the bottom. And then we'll be done with this rear mast. So I'm going to take the camera off here and I'll zoom back out. Move this baby around here to the front. It's hard to get a good view of all the detail, and I've got a long ways to go too. To each one of them cannons that are in the side there, this I think there's 80 cannons on this ship altogether, and each one is a little bit of work in itself. There's 4 wheels, 2 brass pins for the wheels, a brass pin for the cannon itself that sits in the walnut, and then a base underneath the cannon, and then 2 side panels, and all that gets cut and assembled together, and there's 80 of them on there. So that took quite a while, getting all those cannons done. And even up under the deck, it's hard to see up in there, but even up under the deck there's cannons in there just like these ones on the top. And of course there's a lot more rigging and stuff that goes along with those. But the hull itself is pretty much done. There's a lot of rigging that's going to get attached to it. And I do have some sanding work to do. You can see that area at the bow. Got a little bit of sanding work to do where I did some filler. And there's some on the back end the same way. And I'll get the drum all on a little teeny grinding bit and get in there and work on that. So, hope you guys liked that video today. Would appreciate any input, and please feel free to give me any comments you have, and in the meantime we'll keep plugging away on her and keep you updated as we go. Have a nice day.